All right, Reggie, I know you had talked about previously when we had done segments about what Snoop's monthly was and what Tupac's monthly was. I was curious, did Suge have a monthly? And if so, do you know what that was?
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna just talk about 1995. So I can talk about Dre, Snoop, David Kenner. We can talk about 1995, 1996. So Tupac monthly was going to be 75,000 a month. I know y'all say 75,000 a month. He sold 10 million records. Okay. Well, when he was getting that advance monthly, he hadn't sold that many records yet. But number two, like I keep telling y'all, the videos and all of that, it still hadn't drawn up the amount of money that y'all think a person should have been. Y'all got to remember, even after it all was said and done, 2 years later, they only settled for $3 million. All right, so let's cap that and with all of that. This everybody was that, but he was getting 75,000 a month. Uh, Snoop Dogg was only getting 50,000 a month. Um, Which I had to remember he had just had 4.5 million to $5 million paid out for a lawsuit. But that's what he was getting per month to live off of. Suge was getting 125 a month. Dre was getting 125, and David Kenner was for his all his law and expertise and all of that was getting 75, and then eventually 125 a month. And then Right Way was getting about 100 a month. And then other people like Das was getting, I think Das was getting like 14,000 a month. Uh, a lot of the artists was only getting like 1,500 to 1,000. Danny Boy was getting 3,500, as I remember. But y'all gotta remember, on all of these things, on all these people monthlies that I'm talking about, not mine and David Kenner's, because we all had office staff and employees and stuff that we had to take care of. But the other people that I named, the artists and all of that, their monthly were pretty much uh, being taken care of by what? That's all they had to spend their money on was stuff like that. Because all the automobiles, as y'all know, were in Death Row names that were getting paid. And so when you're paying for the automobile, you're paying for the insurance. Death Row was paying for everybody's cell phones. They were paying for like penthouses. And then, as y'all saw, well, I proved to y'all earlier this year or last year that Snoop was lying when he said, nothing was in his name. Well, I showed y'all that the deed was in his name, in the house in Claremont that he had. The house in Toluca Lake, I think that might have been a lease. And so Death Row was just leasing that. Definitely the penthouses on Wilshire that Snoop, uh, Pac, and Suge had, and Dre were definitely all leases. They wasn't purchases. Now, say, well, why didn't they have houses and name and stuff in their names and all of that? I keep trying to tell y'all. Number one, their credit wasn't that good to have it, uh, but Dre had a house in Calabasas that was in his name. David Kenner house was in his own name. Suge house was in his name. Snoop house, as I told y'all, was in his name. Now, so y'all say, well, Tupac, that house we found out was, well, y'all think it was in Sharitha name. It wasn't in Sharitha name. It was actually in David Kenner and his wife's name. But it was a lease. It was going to be a lease. It was a lease with an option to buy. And so they were trying to get the financing and everything worked out for Tupac. But y'all got to remember, Tupac is what? Out on bail, and he had all of these judgments. Y'all forget about all the judgments that Tupac had at that time. You're not putting, ain't no title company going to give you no insurance on a house, a title insurance. Y'all, I got to learn all this stuff. Title insurance when you got all these judgments and stuff out there, because the first day you put it, the title, and nobody knew about trust and all of that back then. That wasn't a big thing then. But everybody was still talking about wills and stuff back in the 90s. We didn't learn about trust until later. But anyway, But as soon as you go and file a name and the name Tupac Shakur, what's going to pop up on there? Somebody be coming down there filing a lien on the house. He had tax issues. He had issues. So that was the reason why a lot of the stuff wasn't in Pac's name in that house. Everything was getting worked out. He was getting all the judgments just about paid off and stuff. And there was still some judgments eventually. Y'all can look it up. And from the estate where he was going to get paid. But that was the reason why the things wasn't in their names and stuff. But they were going to get worked out, and the house was, like I said, a lease to buy, and was going to eventually get put in the Tupac's name. But it wasn't yet. It wasn't up yet, and then that's when unfortunately what happened to him happened, and the mother elected that she didn't want to proceed with getting the house. So I know what y'all first thing would be, well, why y'all, he just sold so many records, and why y'all just didn't buy the house? It was only a $2 million house or whatever. Well, $2 million and stuff like that was a lot when you had other obligations coming out. You know, you're not making that much money yet. You're making money like, you know, if you made 10 million, you know, y'all keep saying he sold 10 million records. Well, that's over the time. That's over the lifetime of the album. But at that point when Tupac died, he had only was a tribute to 5 million records. Let's say 5 million records. 2.5 really, but you know, it was a double, so we say 5 million. Okay, let's say 6. I know some of y'all say, it says 6. Okay, so let's say 6. So most artists will only get $1 a record, all right? So that's $6 million. We know already that he did, what, 9 music videos during that time period, I believe? Say each one of those videos was $300,000. You got to pay for that. Suge paid for half of them, but you got to pay for that. You got to pay for all of those leasings on your cars. You got to pay for all of that advances. I'll keep trying to tell y'all, money is not like y'all think it was. Okay, so artists was just as big as Tupac at that time. Let's put in comparisons. Coolio, he beat him out that year for album or song of the year. Beat California Love out. How was he living when he died? Okay, let's talk about Lauryn Hill. The Fugees, hey, y'all can say what y'all want. Fugees was just as big as Pac. That album that the Fugees did was just as big as Tupac album in 96. That's All Eyez On Me. LL Cool J, Mr. Smith was just as big. Just as big. Now, these were only singles, so of course, you know, it don't seem like they don't get as much credit for the amount of sales. Biggie Smalls album. Well, we know that only sold 1.5 million, 2 million at the time. But look how he said he was living and stuff. What did he own when he died? I know y'all say, well, Tupac had 5 or 6 albums out. Well, I can't talk about that time period. I don't know. But y'all never talk about Interscope and Jimmy and all of them, or Antron and Layla and all of them, or those people. Never ask them what happened to the money from Juice or Poetic Justice or anything. I never hear y'all ask about any of those questions. Always poor Suge Knight did this to Tupac. Suge Knight did this. Suge was beating him out of this or doing this to him. Y'all really, really, really need to learn the business and stop being keyboard gangsters and research on people that was around that time. Now, new artists today are making a lot more money and doing a lot more things. Just like in the NBA. When Magic Johnson got that $25 million for a 25-year contract, everybody was like, whoa, whoa. The average motherfucker in the NBA now gets $25 million. A dude that's on the bench gets $25 million for 1 year. not 25 years. So all I'm just trying to say is time periods are different. Stop comparing Death Row, Suge Knight, and what they were doing in 95, 96 to the guys that y'all hear are believing or claiming to making all of this money in 2024, 2023. You know, the Kanyes and all them. They got the benefit off the hard work of what Tupac and Ice Cube and all of them did in the mid-90s. Just like LeBron and Kevin Garnett and people like that got the benefit off the work that Magic and Isaiah and Larry Bird and all of them did in the 80s and the 90s. Michael Jordan's a billionaire behind sneakers, not from playing basketball. So, hey, that's all I got to say. But I just wanted to address that because a lot of people always ask and worrying about the money part and all of that. And, Suge shouldn't get a bad rap on everything. He should get a bad rap on some things, but not everything. And not especially when it comes to dealing with the money situation. Yeah.